ICP has ran. Zcash has ran. The question is, who are the next ICPs? Is Zcash? Is it Near? Is it Filecoin? Lots of big downtrends have officially broken. Is this the beginning of altcoin season? The time where everyone least expected it was October 10th. That large liquidation was at the bottom. Will Bitcoin never go under 100,000 again? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a lot of altcoins today, including Solana. We'll talk about why Near potentially is pumping. ICP, does it have another leg up? I did an ICP video that we published earlier today before the live show. And so we got a lot to talk about. With that being said, Gina, roll the intro.
Hola! Is your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content. We take old, boring, stale information. We show you how to make money here, or at least we tell you what we're doing. And you want to follow along and make money as well, then, well, have at it. You know, it feels like an altcoin season.
It feels like Dino Coin season. Holy fucking Filecoin, dude.
You know, something strange is in the water here, right? And it's almost like we got into a time machine, went back to 2021 and saw all those coins run, right? You got Filecoin up. You got Tezos up. You got Zcash. Now, Zcash did have a decent run in 2021. It wasn't one of the strongest winners, of course. It dwindled its returns back from 2017 to 2021. So it's kind of disappointing on the long-term chart for 2021, especially compared to others. However, the projects that we saw running last bull market are getting their shot in the sun, at least most of them. Some of them are left on the outside looking in, and which ones are those? Well, you know, Cardano's been hanging out, watching everyone else party. Avalanche is not doing a damn thing. It's
sell your Avalanche.
Yeah, Polkadot, decent performance. I'm not joking. Polkadot's up 26%. I'm not a buyer. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I told you about Polkadot. I'm not even going to do that. But Litecoin performing pretty well today as well. So it's interesting. We're seeing now the pump is going further and beyond the privacy and Zcash now. It was pretty much security was the big run. Now we're getting a little bit more stuff, right? We have the privacy security. Now it's just kind of like Dino coins in general. We're seeing Near protocol run. Bro, there's a lot of money to be made right now.
Look at this BitTensor. BitTensor got to a low of 353 and then up to $412. We got our man joining us today. In a little bit here, we're going to bring Forrest on just a couple of seconds. But this is made some money this morning. I scalped a Near long, got in at 276, got out at 294. I mean, like almost 2K there. Pretty good. We'll talk about Near here in a second, and if that thing's going to continue to go up. But yeah, to Rob's point though, and I've said this, and Rob and I were talking on the phone yesterday. You know, I've been saying this is going to be a utility-driven rally. Coins are going to rally based off if people are using them, if there's actually stuff going on. So with that information, for the most part, right, we can look at Solana. Solana's down. It's not rallying. That's not to say that Solana is completely cooked, that nothing's happening, right? My thesis for Solana was, we talked about this, I think, yesterday. Solana is a coin that I'm fading for 3 months, and I'll rotate back in. Why? Because of the ETF. ETF went live, massive inflows. We'll share the news. We'll share those numbers here in a minute. And look what happened with Bitcoin. It pumped before. ETFs were buying. It consolidated, bored everyone out of the market, and then, right, Cialis time. Ethereum, same thing. Consolidation, and then Cialis time. Solana, I think, is going to be the same. And so if you park your money in Solana now, you're probably going to see it dwindle down to like 110 to 120 range. And then once that turns, once the tides turn, I think Solana is going to go on a face melting rally. I would rather take that capital that I have now and rotate it into something that is moving, which there's a lot moving, and then come back to Solana once we feel like it's ready to move again. That's at least my thesis, what I'm looking to do on Sol. And so we'll get Forrest. Hey, we got Forrest joining us. It's Forrest Friday. Forrest, welcome back, my friend. We're excited to have you. How you doing?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Are you
Hopefully,
tired of...
everything's working? You can hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Sweet. Perfect. Sorry about that.
That's all good. Are you tired of winning yet? I mean, is this a full-blown altcoin season for us? We're seeing BitTensor shot up from $350 to $400 in a matter of an hour. Zcash at $700. Dash at $109. Tezos up 16%. Filecoin destroying the bears, okay? Filecoin was at $2.12 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago, $5.12 got to a peak of around $3.90.
That's an asset. Filecoin's got $2.5 billion market cap. This is not a small little outside the top 100 project here. This is a big boy, and it just freaking moved. It's up 22% in the hour. Like this thing, I don't know what's going on here, but your boy's making money.
Forrest, what's going on here? Can you help us? Because we're both, I mean, I'm not super confused, but yeah. But what do you think's going on here, man? What's your thesis here?
Yeah. So honestly, like I'm leaning very heavily towards alt season. Obviously, there's been so many failed breakouts and fake outs in crypto for the entire year, but I'm not gonna lie. I've like, as of today, like yesterday, it was looking pretty rough. But as of today, this kind of reaction that we're seeing out of alts on a day where stocks are just nuking. So, it looks like we're getting a full on rotation out of equities, which have been pretty overvalued, into crypto, particularly altcoins, which have been pretty down in the dumps. So, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty bullish. I'm still cautious in the sense that if for whatever reason this starts to fade and just fully retraces, then it's like, yeah guys, pack it up. It's not looking good, but this is the most optimistic I've been probably all year long, and I'm been building longs all day. I've woke up this morning, I do every morning, scan the charts. Yesterday was such a horrible day in the markets where like every pump that we had on November 4th got retraced, or maybe it was November 5th, got retraced to November 6th, or whatever. What's today? 6th?
Could
7th.
not make
Today's the 7th for us.
Yeah, and I could not make any
yesterday
money.
Was terrible.
I could not make any money yesterday, man. I was just like, what's going on? And then I exited once Bitcoin was around that 100,000. I was like, I'm not touching anything right now, man. Everything's just kind of spooky. And then this morning I woke up and I'm like, here we go.
Do you guys, let me share this. Let me share this post real quick on X from DJ Griffith. Are we in a Dino Coin super cycle? What do you guys think? Dash, Decred, right? DCR, ZK Sync, ICP, Zcash. We can go on and on. Dash. We already talked about Dash. Is this for Rob? Forrest said he thinks it's a rotation from equities to alts. Why these alts? Why ICP? Why Filecoin? Why Dash? Why Zcash?
The interesting situation here is that it isn't off a Bitcoin consolidation, but a Bitcoin pullback. And so typically when we've seen altcoins, at least the top 100, you always get these like meme coin outside the top 200 thing. These things always just kind of come out of nowhere, right? You get a lot of trending things. But the fact that we got layer ones in masses rallying hard after essentially a 15, 20% pullback in Bitcoin, it's not typical. And so for me, I'm just like, hey, man, I don't really know how to chalk it up. And so I don't really know how to answer your question besides, hey, you know what? Every cycle you get new market dynamics. Every cycle things happen that you don't expect. Remember, it was like meme coins. Meme coins weren't a thing in 2017. Meme coins were strong in 2021. And that was a new market dynamic. And this market, it seems that like, hey, here we go again. Here's some other unexpected situations. Same way that we looked at Shiba Inu, we're like, this thing can't just keep running. Every day it can't keep running. We're saying the same thing about Zcash. Maybe, maybe it has something to do with tokenomics. Perhaps the fact that there
Zcash
isn't
specifically.
No, I'm talking about with these antique, these dino coins as you are referencing to. Project has been around for a while. Maybe it's about the tokenomics. Maybe it's about the tokens. Maybe the distribution from the organizations or founders, the fact that our meme coin pumps that we've had historically are off the back of a small group of individuals, 1 to 10 people controlling the supply. And then you throw in some snipers in there and you know it's going to get rugged. So you're just kind of questioning when rug, right? You're in these brand new, just launched meme coins. It's pretty much win rug. Here, you can't really rug it, right? It's just market speculation at this point. And so now you just got 10,000 or 100,000 new buyers of Zcash or Dash or whatever it is, or 100,000.
Z-Dash.
And so these people have to sell on one another, and there's not a founder or some guy that launched the project that's willing to rug. So I feel like this is going to carry on a little bit more. I think this is going to last longer. We've looked historically at meme coin pumps, and we know that they're like a flash in the pan. They don't last long.
No.
3 weeks at most.
If you're lucky.
At most,
if you're
like
lucky.
2 months. I'm just talking about in the whole sector, right, as a vertical. But here we've seen since the beginning of November, or so the beginning of October, we saw the run of Zcash, followed by Dash, followed by some other players. And then now legacy coins coming back. What I'm excited about is that there's no rugging. So it's all speculation driven. This is the TA analyst dream, right? There's not a lot of outside factors in here to mess up the charts, right? I don't know, Forrest. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, you're TA driven on the charts. I know you look at fundamentals.
TA driven on the charts.
TA driven on the chart, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not big in technical analysis, but I have a presence or awareness on charts. And I don't even know how to chart very well, but I can look at these legacy coins and just know and comfortably know that nobody's going to rug me. The token distribution has been ongoing for 10 years for some of these projects.
Interesting take, dude. That's very interesting.
And I feel more comfortable getting in and out of trades, and I know that essentially my position is not going to go to zero, especially for spot trading. It's amazing. If I no leverage, you got your leverage, you got liquidation risk, but I'm Gucci on the spot trading right now, dude.
So do you have a question for Forrest?
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think about these legacy coins?
Yeah, so Wave. So I think another reason we're getting like 50, 100% pumps today on some of these coins is there's a lot of shorts getting absolutely destroyed right now. So a lot of these coins kind of underperform Bitcoin the entire cycle, all cycle long, where Bitcoin dominance is just in like this 3-4 year uptrend. And what people do, because they don't have a directional feel on the market, is they just go short ICP, long Bitcoin, short Filecoin, long Bitcoin. And their bet is that, Filecoin's inflation rate and fully diluted, the fact that it doesn't have a huge circulating supply in relation to its potential tokens, that inflation is going to help them make money on that trade, that is going to underperform Bitcoin, which is a great trade until it blows up in your face. I think it's blowing up in a lot of people's faces right now because we just had that massive liquidation right on 1010, and basically you don't have, after an event like that, you don't have any more organic sellers. There's like, if you held Filecoin through that, if you held ICP through that, if you held any altcoin that's ripping today through that, you're probably not going to just sell for, you know, no random reason. You're probably a big long-term believer. So you get to this place where the only sellers are short sellers. And when the only sellers are short sellers, and then you finally get some spark of demand or some spark of buying, it snowballs and these shorts get blown up. So on the Dino coin thing, I think you have to be careful. I think right now we're seeing but large react. This is day one. This is day one of hopefully alt season. The large reactions off the bat are going to be oftentimes, in some ways, the worst coins because they're the most heavily shorted coins. So they're going to rip really hard, but whether or not they continue to perform well through an alt season is to be determined. So for that reason, it's kind of reminds me of like after the election. Like you saw like Dogecoin rip right off the bat, and it did really, really well. You saw a lot of other coins rip right off the bat. But then what ended up being by far the best performers off of the election last year, it was XRP, XLM, and HBAR. They all ripped like, you know, I think XLM ripped from like 10 cents to 60 cents in like 20 days, like a 6X. And a lot of other coins got like a 2X. So I still think that you want to be very sector specific and quality sectors as the dust settles. For me, that's AI and payments. I think AI and payments. So I still big fan of your XRP, XLM, HBAR trade from you know last year, but also AI, which is virtual Tau. Fetch is up like 2x since this morning. I saw it. I saw Fetch AI this morning, and I think that's a short squeeze in action as well. I saw Fetch AI this morning. I was entering longs, and it was like already up like 20%, and we hadn't really started ripping. Bitcoin was actually like under 100K, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy it, even though the chart looks good. And then you know, obviously just ripped another 80% in my face. But yeah, I think initially we're getting short squeezes, but quality still matters. You still want to be paying attention to quality in sectors that you like. For me, the absolute most obvious sector, even like if you don't buy into like the payment sector, like I actually think payments is a really hot sector. I think it'll do well. But the most obvious sector is AI. Like the AI trade has been ongoing in equities all year long. If capital actually is, if we're actually going to get an alt season, which is not guaranteed yet, but if we actually are getting an alt season, and this is day one, AI is just like the layup trade, the virtual Tau, you know, any like solid AI coin is probably going to absolutely rip.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been on this AI train for months and months and months. And yeah, I mean, we take a look at this. Top AI and big data tokens. Volume up 71% on the 24-hour. Market cap up 21% on the 24-hour. 30 days, volume's up 86%. And so these are running. So I guess, you know, Rob, I'll go to you since we're on the topic of AI. Well, hold on. Guys, did you see what happened to Sam Altman?
No, what happened?
Oh, my God. Forrest, did you see what happened to Sam Altman?
I did not.
Oh, bro. Okay. Look at this shit, and then we'll get into AI. Sam Altman is doing a fireside chat. Watch what happens, okay?
A conference many years ago that you probably were at. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, go ahead. Will you help? That's subpoena for Sam. Oh, good. Can you take him off the stage?
Dude is getting served while he's on stage.
Getting off to a dramatic start already.
He got subpoenaed on stage when I saw that. And then you think about OpenAI asked the government to backstop them, right? And so this was from what David Sachs said. Trump AI czar David Sachs shuts down OpenAI CFO request for federal backstop. There will be no federal bailout for AI. And when I saw this, Robin Forrest, my immediate thought was, this is bullish Tau. This is bullish decentralized AI. This is bullish projects that are building. Because I think if OpenAI got a government backstop, I think that would have been bad news for decentralized AI and really AI in the crypto sector. Because now with OpenAI knowing they have a mommy and daddy to bail them out if they need to, I can't imagine what they would do in terms of just grabbing mass amounts of market share. Not to say they don't have a lot now, but so with that considered, gentlemen, when you look down this list, is there outside of BitTensor and Virtual's protocol, because people know we're bullish on them, they're running. Is there any other AI project, maybe a little further down the list, you guys, that's under $500 million, right? So we're looking at THETA and down. Is there anyone that kind of jumps out at you that they're doing something cool, or you think could potentially have a breakout or get some bids here?
I think the biggest market cap outside of what you mentioned is kind of a no-brainer here. You got RUNE up 40% on the 24 hours. This is up 2x in a week. And I find it hard to, I was doubting the AI rally. Wrong about that. So here we are. Now,
you've been really good at picking up trend reversals.
I got zero issue. Just like, hey, no.
But you call tops too early. But then I call tops. Sometimes we call tops too late.
Most of the time, I've historically called a good amount of tops. That's about like 50-50 on my top calls.
You think Zcash gets to 100?
Dude, I'm done trying to figure out what the top is for that one. It's kind of like SHIB last bull market cycle, where you're like, no, that was the top. No, that was the top. No, that was the top. It's like, you know
Zcash
what?
Is going to
I literally don't care at this point. Like,
Zcash is going to 100 billion.
I agree. It's got a lot of potential, and I don't know. I don't know where the top is. I'm done trying to call tops on that thing. It is what it is. I
think tops in today.
You bought tops in today for us.
I bought at 50. I bought at 50 and I sold at 250. So I 5x.
They're respectable 5x.
And I was like, I thought I was the smartest man in the room. I'm like, bro, I got out at 250. Which is good. Like I'm not at all like downplaying that move. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You're never gonna nail the tops anyway, so whatever. I'd proceed with caution. It just hasn't had any pullbacks, other than when
pulling back now.
Other than when the market completely pulled back.
It's down 4% on the hour.
And then I keep bringing this one up, guys. So whether or not you guys want to freaking pay attention or not, this just wicked up to 20 cents. MINA protocol 2 days ago, 13 cents. Yesterday, 16 cents. Today, 19 cents.
Tomorrow.
I mean, if I come back on Monday and I drop an elbow on your face and I say, look, man, this is legacy coin. It is ZK rollups. It is privacy. It's like the trifecta of the verticals here. Now, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. This is something I'm gonna be allocated to for as long as the market keeps the direction it is. As long as the market is going the direction it is, I got it on Dash. I got it on Zcash. Rolled out into Dash. Rolled out of Dash, and I'm into MINA. Those are my 3 moves so far. I nailed the first 2. We'll see what happens with this one.
Forrest, I don't know what you want to comment on, but can you say something?
Yeah, Zcash. So don't short Zcash. I wouldn't short anything in this market, to be honest. Especially with stuff just squeezing like 2-3x on some of these coins. The argument for Zcash top being near is that this has been like the leader and the outperformer, and there's a lot of unrealized P&L. Like basically, there's a lot of people that are up a lot on Zcash right now, and if other coins start running from the bottom, and charts just start looking really, really good, and you think a chart can go 4 or 5x, and you're at Zcash, which is already ripped like $700, it's super tempting to take those profits out of Zcash and start speculating on other altcoins. So if this is the beginning of alt season and we're going to see a lot of other charts start running and running hard, I think the opportunities that are in those other charts are going to start pulling capital away from Zcash. So I don't want to sit and like put $1, like it could run another 20% today, right? And then people will be like, oh, like, I'm not shorting Zcash. I just think that if other stuff starts popping off, which it starting today is, but if we see 3 or 4 days of this in a row where stuff's just popping 20%, 20%, 20% a day, I think that a lot of that capital that's like, and then like if Zcash just stalls for a day or two, and all these Zcash bulls that are in have been sitting in making 20% a day, 20% a day, 20%. If Zcash gets a minus 20% day while everything else is ripping, it's going to be super tempting to rotate out of Zcash, and that can kind of collapse the short-term price action and create a top. So that's my theory as to why I think Zcash top is near in terms of timeline, assuming alts are going to start running, other alts are going to start running.
That's interesting, Forrest. Okay, so let's say, Forrest, let's say you're right. Let's say there's better opportunities elsewhere. Give me 3 coins that you think people that have held Zcash and have taken profits on Zcash, where do you think they will go? And of course, this is just an educated guess.
Where would I go, or where do I think they'll go?
Where do you think they'll go? The people that got into Zcash early, the ones that held up to $700, the one that maybe held up to $2,000 if it gets there. If what you're saying happens, where is that money going? I think that's the important question, right? Where's that money going?
Yeah, I think some are going to look at their P&L and be like, all right, I just made a ton of money and Zcash is stalling if it starts stalling. And they're just going to be like, I'm going to buy Bitcoin with it. They're going to say, Bitcoin held 100K. I'm going to play it safe. I'm just going to buy Bitcoin with it. And maybe it goes to 150K. I don't know. I don't want to get into this volatile market right now. And I think that could help Bitcoin's price go up a little bit. I think there will be a lot of rotation of the AI sector. I think AI is teed up right now. And, you know, not financial advice, whatever. This is a super volatile market. Every breakout's been stuffed all year long. Every time we've gotten excited, it's been met with more downside or false breakouts. So keep that in mind. But I think we're teed up, ready to go on AI and altcoins. Virtuals protocol, I think, is going to absolutely, like, that chart is absolutely ready to burst. Same with Tau. Tau is a very similar chart to Virtuals protocol. Yeah, those are like the 2 that I like the most. And then I really think you're going to get a big retail wave into the payment sector. I think like XRP and XLM and HBAR are slow off the starting blocks in a quote unquote alt season like they were last year. But I think if those start really, really running, the charts are so good that the upside on those are pretty substantial.
Forrest, you had this post on XNO, which you've been talking about Nano for a while. I remember back in the Crypto Stackers days, you used to actually give your subscribers XNO every month, and I still have some in my Kraken account. I was looking at this. I saw you bull posting it, and you know, I bought some. I bought some at around 80-something cents. What's your thesis on Nano? I know it was payments, Forrest, but is there more to this? And how high do you think Nano can go realistically? Yeah,
so the best trader I know, his target for Nano is $100.
Wait, what?
That's like a straight up 100x.
$100? That's 100x.
That's 100x. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like buy it right now, hold for 100x. I think that is very possible if we get like a crazy alt season. Just keep in mind, Zcash just went from $20 to almost 800, just already has run 40x, and we might be on day 1 of alt season. Again, it's too early to call it. I think things are teed up. I'm bullish. We're going to see how the next week to 2 weeks go. You know, alt seasons can last like 50 to 100 days. So you haven't missed it on, if today's day 1, you can get in on a nice bull flag on day 3, 4, 5 and still have plenty of upside. The pattern on Nano, because they're like these large, and really the pattern on Zcash, these are very long-term distributed tokens. The pattern on XRP, the pattern on like Litecoin.
Can you show us a chart for us, if you don't mind?
Sure, yeah, I'll share the screen.
People can see what you're talking about with the distribution and the.
Yeah, so you actually have to go to CoinTrader Pro because Nano changed their ticker from Nano to XNO a while back. So you got to go to, there we go. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the daily chart. Let's zoom out. All right, so for starters, this is just an absolutely massive triangle, and every single bear market we've had, you know, a little wedge situation here that's kind of popped for, you know, you get a symmetric triangle right there, not a symmetric triangle, ascending triangle there, and every time this is kind of popped. Well, now we're finally popping out of this wedge, but that may bring us to a point where we break out of the overall pattern. Right now, let's compare this to, you know, basically bar for bar of what, and I'm keep in mind, I'm bullish on XRP going up higher if it can hold, like if we're going into an alt season. Again, I have to cap, it's like, it's a little bit early to call. I think it's a great risk reward to be long right now, given, you know, the market reaction. But compare this to the XRP chart that ran during the election or right after the election last year. It's actually a very similar chart. It's just a huge 7-year triangle. And keep in mind, from this low, XRP ran 869%. So basically almost a 10x from the, you know, really, you know, 37 cents to $3.70. It was a 10x. You over to Nano, this is the exact same chart, just a year lagged, right? So if this actually runs, like you're talking about like maybe a 10x for starters. You're talking about, you know, $10 if it gets to its prior highs, right? And then like, you know, the pattern, the target on a chart like XRP is like $17 plus. You know, seen some targets as high as $25, but the pattern on, or the target on a pattern like XRP is like $17. So that's where you kind of derive this, like, you know, $100 you know, potential in a blow off scenario. Again, it sounds crazy. Keep in mind, Zcash is up 40x. This is a much lower market cap token than Zcash was. This is a 100 million market cap token. 100x is, you know, just, it's not as crazy as it seems if alts are going to run the way that they, you know, hopefully are going to run here. But then the thesis with Nano is there's basically two cryptocurrencies that I know of that are like relevant, that don't have fees, don't have transaction fees. One is XRP, one is IOTA. I actually am a little bit bullish on IOTA. The only problem with IOTA is there is, like, you know, some inflation. I think it's like 6% inflation per year. I think the IOTA chart is actually one that I'm watching
Solana's higher,
very.
Forrest? What's
up?
Isn't Solana's emissions higher?
Probably, yeah. I think higher than 6%. So IOTA is really interesting here because it's feeless, but the narrative for both of these tokens is like IOTA's from the beginning has been building for like machine-to-machine payments, machine-to-machine economy, which is basically what we're starting to see with robotics, right? Everyone's starting to talk about robotics and robots and AI. Well, AI swarms and AI robotics, like there's a very high probability, I would say almost a guarantee, that these AI agents and robots are going to need to transact with each other. They're going to need some form of currency, and they may transact in stable coins on a network like, you know, Solana or whatever. But if you want to have like micro payments, if you want machines and robots and AI to be able to transact with each other at a minuscule level, like, you know, sub 1 cent transactions at a time, which there's use cases for, I believe, or will be. You need a cryptocurrency that has no fees, and that's basically IOTA and Nano. That's what they've been building for from the start. This is feeless instant settlement using directed acyclic graph DAG technology. There's a couple other blockchains that have that, but these are the ones that I'm most bullish on and think fit the bill. So you have a potential where, like, somebody is already testing Nano the other day. Keep in mind, Nano's just like this tiny market cap coin. It's 100 million market cap, and they were testing it with the X402 protocol, which is like, you know, basically payments for AI agents. So yeah, super interesting that they have zero fees that make them potentially the coins or, you know, cryptocurrencies that could have a use case for AI agent swarms and robots transacting with each other. Which sounds crazy, I know, but
I mean, it's coming, Forrest. And I want to give people watching maybe a little alpha here. If you are bullish on AI and robotics, you need to look at Vader. Vader was the darling of the virtuals ecosystem back when virtuals ran to $5. They rebranded they rebranded to robotics. Everyone hated it, and it didn't help that virtuals came all the way down from $5 to 50 cents. In the process, everyone sold the crap out of this coin. Guys, take a look at it. This all-time high in market cap. Vader got to a market cap all-time high of 150 million. It's sitting at 11 million. They pivoted to robotics. They're working directly with the Virtuals team. We know Virtuals just announced, what was it, Forrest? A few weeks ago, their foray into robotics. If you are bullish on that sector, I would highly recommend you at least put Vader on your watch list. Again, they have direct support from Virtuals. They are in robotics and AI, and they have a team. They've been around for a while. They were here when Virtuals went from 30 million to 5 billion market cap. And I think they'll be here when Virtuals goes from 500 million market cap up to 50 billion market cap. And so it might take a little while. This thing looks like it does want to consolidate maybe a little longer, but keep it on your watch list, guys. And if this thing breaks 22 million in market cap, it's probably going to run to new highs. If it takes out this high here, I think we're going back to that 100 some odd million market cap, which at that point, you're looking at a 5X. And depending if the AI sector is still hot, this thing is going to continue to rally. We did get a new member on the chat here. Who was it? This was I Gotcha 1345. What happened to the number 2? Thank you for becoming a sinner. Also, Alex O, 10 Canuck bucks. You know, Alex was literally shilling our channel for 10, 20 minutes on his stream. I think it was a couple nights ago. And Alex, I don't know if you're watching the show yesterday. Thanks. I love you. But Jesus Christ, I spent 45 minutes approving every single one of your community's comments, Otter Gang. It was like 200 and some odd comments. I think we picked up almost 100 subscribers from your community, dude. We just want to say we really appreciate you, man. You're always showing us love. We love you back. And guys, if you're not subscribed to Alex O's channel, this dude has some of the best TA in the game. He's just a good dude, man. So Alex, we love you. We love your community. Thank you very much. And thanks for the $10 super chat. Although it is Canadian, at least we don't got to pay tariffs on them, I guess, right? Okay. This was an interesting post here by Kelly Kellum. Said, why Zcash is pumping, also consider the NEAR integration. This could make sense to why NEAR is pumping, guys. Look at this. NEAR and Zcash are being integrated to enhance Zcash's usability, particularly through the NEAR intents. This integration allows users to use Zcash privacy features for payments on other chains without revealing the sender's Zcash address. So a little bit of a NEAR and Zcash integration here. Could this be the reason why NEAR is pumping? Potentially, yes, but I don't know realistically. Chainlink. This is one where, I mean, Forrest, do you mind pulling up a Chainlink chart while I read this post here? They've been buying Link for their reserve, okay? All these bullish announcements, SmartCon just ended, SWIFT, DTCC, CCIP, PCP, CBDC, CP, all the letters and numbers you can throw together. And they're buying Link for their reserve. 78,000 Link was purchased. Now they hold a total of 729,000. Okay, it's effectively moving it out of the circulating supply. And I can't tell you guys how many people, how many times. Why is the price not moving then? What is going on? Forrest, what the hell does the Chainlink chart tell you, my friend?
Yeah, so this is another just very, very large pattern dating back to 2019 or so. So we've been going, almost 6 years. Here's the thing with Chainlink and this pattern. And this is I'm not bearish Chainlink at all. I'm actually bullish, and I'll tell you what to look for a breakout here in just a second. But this pattern, Chainlink was weird because it ran before, it kind of ran like after the 2018 meltdown collapse, the January 2018 top in altcoins, and it ran during the bear market. So it's almost like offset a little bit in its like cyclical nature versus stuff like ETH, stuff like XRP, stuff like Doge, stuff like, so it took 7 years for a lot of, like, for example, XRP to break out. So that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause just on the magnitude of this pattern is I wonder if it might not be quite there yet. It might be like this is a bear market play, or you just wait, patiently for another year before this thing absolutely rips. That doesn't mean that Chainlink's not bullish. It doesn't mean that the targets for this particular pattern aren't astronomically high. They are. I'll give you a measured move here in a second. You're talking about like $329 on a measured move on a triangle like this. This could also break down, right? And you have to be wary of that. If this does break down, we go into a major recession or whatever, like sure, like pay attention to the chart. Don't just, if you start to see Chainlink below $10 and something bad's happen, whatever, and all of this prior range gets broken, sure, we'll deal with that when the time comes. But for now, it's in this pattern. And what I'm seeing on a lot of charts right now, and something that I'm very interested in, are these funnels. And I've been spending a large amount of my time focused on trading these funnels, and then also just marking them out and studying them in a way that is hopefully helpful. But and they take a second to draw. But essentially what I'm seeing here is wave 2 of a funnel. And you don't always get a deep wave 3. Sometimes you just get 2 waves and then a tight wave 3. And, the most bullish scenario would be something like this, an actual breakout and a flag out and a very tight wave 3. What do I mean by wave 3? Well, that's your first push. That's your second push, right? And you simply look for the diagonal break for the breakout. And that gets you in pretty good. We had a full retrace, but again, we made a higher low. We've made 1, 2, 3 higher lows, assuming that's the bottom. No guarantees. We had a liquidation wick or whatever, but as far as candles that are actually closing and realistic, this potentially is going into a wave 3. Now, wave 3, you'd expect a higher high, and you could get a pullback all the way back down to like we did here. You could get a deep retracement. I hope we don't. I'd rather get a bull flag up here in a tight wave 3. But I think what you want to do here is you want to look for this diagonal to break, which it hasn't yet. And this is why I'm a little bit hesitant to say, oh, 100% alt season, everything's going to rip. Everything's looking great right now. But we have yet to actually see any material, breakout for a lot of these charts. For example, if you'd have called it, over here on this bounce, right, you ended up going underwater. You were looking at, a push up to 17, 18, and it came down to, 13, 14 again. So I want to see some confirmation, and I want to see Chainlink and really other alts in general recover some of these key levels and break out. But I think you start seeing, and this is one of those cases where sometimes it's better to buy a coin when it's more expensive once you have confirmation of a breakout, right? If you would have bought over here at like, at $13, you'd have had to sit through some of this, up and down. You might have said, oh, I'm going to add more up here because it's pumping. And then it comes all the way down to $11 and maybe you panic sell. Versus if you just wait for the actual breakout, you get in at $13.78. You're paying an extra 78 cents, but you're immediately rewarded with upside. So that's what I'm looking for here on Chainlink is I'm looking for a breakout here in the next couple of days to weeks. And then I actually think it looks great for a wave 3. And ideally, we would see that wave 3 hold up on the outside of the larger pattern. So I'm very bullish and constructive on Chainlink here, as I am a lot of alts, just waiting for a breakout to get long.
Rob, what are your thoughts on Chainlink, dude? Is this one you've kind of given up on, or is this one you're waiting for a...
Well, it's interesting because we've seen rallies out of some of the 2021 top performers, and there's some that have been left out. Now, Chainlink is one of them. Now, not to say that Chainlink hasn't performed well this bull market, it has. And if you would have been acquiring Chainlink throughout the bear market, you would be sitting in a very good spot. You can see here it was down to $5 at the bottom of the bear market, and it was at $10 just about a year ago. So, it's good returns. Is it what I consider, great compared to what we've seen out of other layer ones?
Of course not.
No. So it's in a similar category as Cardano, Chainlink, and Avalanche. I'm not comparing the three, but I'm just saying that there are layer ones that have just not performed well this bull market, at least not comparatively speaking, especially in an environment where these legacy coins or Dino coins are running. And so why are these left out? Now, Chainlink doesn't have the appeal of retail, but neither did Zcash. I mean, realistically. And so, I mean, I don't know. I am the most bullish on Chainlink versus Cardano and Avalanche. I'll say that. Okay. I think that it's a great long-term hold, but I'm not rotating into Chainlink right now. I don't find it advantageous at the moment. And what Forrest mentioned, sometimes just getting in late. If this thing breaks out to $22 in like a short time period, like 10 days, then I'll be like, hey, you know what? I think it's Chainlink's turn. But I'm okay leaving a little bit on the table. And that's what I've done so far this bull market. It's worked pretty well. Wait for a clear reversal trend on a macro on a macro time frame for an asset that's been around for a while that has good token distribution. And so that's been my blueprint, and it's made me a lot of damn money this year. And so I'm gonna do the same with Chainlink. I'm curious to see what you guys think about Avalanche. I know, Forrest, you are you've historically been bullish on Avalanche. This is something that you probably know more about than maybe I do. It had the gaming narrative that just never took off. It's still an ETF play. It's still RWAs. It's still stable coins and DeFi. It's not the strongest in those verticals, but it seems like a good play on paper. It just hasn't moved compared to Bitcoin. It is bleeding. Forrest, is there any hope for Avalanche? You're muted over there, brother.
My bad. I'll share my screen here. Yeah, so I think with Avalanche, it's in a similar situation as Chainlink, but it's actually weaker because it made a lower low, or maybe an equal. You could call this a double bottom. That's fine. It can still pump. And, a good example of this, pattern we're just talking about here is you get your consecutive higher high and then kind of just funnels, right? But you need to see this reclaim. When this reclaims, the good thing about AVAX is that this actually triggers, for me, this triggers actually faster and tighter than Chainlink would. This only has to get above like maybe $20 for this to start looking really attractive to run up to 43. Now, a run up to 43, I could absolutely see AVAX, playing a little bit weaker, get a deeper full retrace than maybe Chainlink does. I don't know. But you can see, obviously, back here and, last year, we got a very, very deep retrace off of a very similar setup. So you got to be very careful. Obviously, when you that you don't round trip stuff. But I'd say AVAX just in general here looks like a lot of other coins that are pretty constructive. If they're just so close, they're showing a lot of strength today. Obviously, if this fades and goes down and deeper to $13, that's rough. And it's not fun. And it absolutely could. There's nothing about this chart yet that is showing me so much strength. I mean, this is technically a 12-hour downtrend, a 4-hour downtrend, right? This is nothing but lower lows and lower highs so far. Even on the higher time frames, we had our higher high up here, but we've now just made a wider and lower low, which is not necessarily bullish. So AVAX, I'm constructive on, again, if we're going into an alt season, which I think is unconfirmed for 99.9% of alts. But if this can get above $20, then I think it looks very good. And this is a good example of something that may start popping a little bit later on. And all of a sudden, it's like the Zcash example. Well, if a bunch of other coins run, let's just say like all the AI coins run, all the, some Dino coins run, whatever, and AVAX is over here just printing an inverse head and shoulders here, that's super tempting to rotate out of, like, let's say we crush it on AI coins and everything's like up 10x, and you have like 10x, your capital to maybe put into a chart like AVAX, which might be slower off the start and might take until late November to start running, but still has potential to 2x. So you could parlay like a 10x into a 2x and feel pretty good about it versus, maybe riding, round tripping some stuff. That's the stuff that, like I kind of was talking about, the Zcash holders are potentially going to face here this week. Zcash holders that have been riding it up may have to may be tempted to hop off the trend and rotate capital. And I think AVAX is bullish if it can get above $20. Until then, I'd say it's technically not bullish, but it's something that might be a late entry or a late runner in any type of alt season that we may get.
Yeah, and the question then becomes for the people watching: do you want to just sit and hold it and kind of miss out on some big gains while the market heats up, and then whatever X's you get or percentage gain you get towards the end of the cycle, is that how you want to play it? If it is how you want to play it, cool. Hold it and it'll probably get there. But I think Rob and I kind of, are just like, look, we're trying to make some gains here with what's running. And yeah. Murray said Wire and Aura Cloud on virtuals. Wire's holding up very well. I was actually just checking this one. Aura Cloud is a different story. That thing has gotten beat to shit. Where are you, Aura Cloud? Look at this. From 8 million to 2.6. Pretty ugly drawdown here, guys. This was the X402 narrative. It's kind of a facilitator. It's infrastructure. If we pull our fib here, let me go in and we'll get rid of the 236. We'll get rid of the 161. We'll get rid of these ones. And we'll add, we have the 0.65, and I want to get rid of the background. Bam. So it's dropped below. It's 786. And so is this going to give a full 100% retracement back down to, I mean, that would be pretty terrible. But I mean, yeah, this thing does not look very good. It could potentially accumulate below that 786 level for a little bit of time. But there's plenty of other virtuals plays that have really ran. Wire is one of them. Forrest, I know you're talking about Tibber on the thread guy, on his X spaces. This thing looks like a little bit of a potential head and shoulders. Could see a little bit of a breakdown. But let me tell you something, man. All signs point to Ribbit Capital launching this coin. And if they come out and they acknowledge that, yes, this is in fact their coin, this thing is running it up to like 2 billion in a matter of a couple of days. I mean, do you agree, Forrest? Ribbit Capital is massive. I mean, we're talking about Mickey Malka, right? Kind of Robinhood, Coinbase. They are the real deal. They're not some bullshit VC fund. If they come out and they say, yes, this is our coin, what do you think happens in the immediate term for this being in the virtuals ecosystem and obviously having the ties to Ribbit Capital?
I don't know if that news would necessarily like immediately send it up, because I think it's like borderline already confirmed. I think it's like everybody knows. Everybody who's invested knows. I don't know. Like, obviously, I think it'd be bullish, but I don't even know if they'll claim it, because I'm pretty sure like everybody knows. That being said, like, I'm bullish on this coin. I'm bullish on virtuals. And if this coin goes up, that's going to help virtual protocol go up. I think virtual protocol is just like, where you want to be parking capital. And like, if you're willing to take risks on high volatile, risk assets, like stock market's a little rocky. We could go into recession. There's always risk. Like, I'm not gonna sit and say like you should just throw all your money at virtuals protocol, because it could absolutely go down. It went to $5. We got in at like 10 cents and it went to $5. And then it went from $5 to 50 cents. So like there's for all the upside, there's absolutely downside risk. But you got virtuals protocol, and you've got Tom Lee from Fundstrat bullish on it. You've got Andrew Kang from Mechanism Capital bullish on it. And you've got Ribbit Capital pretty much building on it, and I'd say they're probably very bullish on it, and they're bullish on the agentic economy with the letter they just recently put out. So yeah, I think you park money in Ribbita, you park money in Virtuals Protocol, the virtual token itself. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think it's going higher.
With virtuals being, one of the strongest AI plays, it's been on the outside looking in on AI. From a chart perspective, it feels like it's just a little behind. And it just screams to me that this is probably ready to be the next one to make a rally. I'm not as plugged into the virtuals chart as you guys are, particularly David. I know always has his eyes on the virtual chart. If you would have told me AI was running hard, RWeave was 2xing, and ASI was getting 30% return, and I would have expected virtuals to run by now. So I know fundamentally it's solid. I mean, you just highlighted so many great points about virtuals ecosystem. It just seems like this is a no-brainer that perhaps next week we're talking about a $3.50 virtual. That's what my intuition says. I don't know. From a chart perspective, what's short-term looking like for virtuals?
I've got a chart pulled up here. So I've been comparing the virtuals chart to Solana last cycle. Now, keep in mind, like, Solana kind of had this initial run, but like alt season didn't even start last year, last cycle, until like Solana ripped from $1 to $40. Like, this was this top fractal. This is Sol between basically like the $1 and $2 range. Sorry, my trading views being a little bit laggy. This is like the $1 to $2 range that took a very long, it takes like 180 days for this to kind of distribute. And then it pokes its head out again and it rips super high. I think this chart looks extraordinarily similar. I think Virtuals Protocol can go significant. I mean, you're talking about like Fundstrat basically single-handedly, I don't want to say single-handedly, but like probably is 70% them. Obviously you had, a couple other DATs also bidding at the same time. But Tom Lee and Fund Strategy basically sent ETH from 1,500 to 4,000. And that's the second largest cryptocurrency. You're talking about a $1.4 billion market cap cryptocurrency. And you've got, Ribbit Capital and some other large funds that are also extraordinarily interested in this. This thing can, again, 20, 30, 40, like it's incredible how good this looks right now, which again, there's always risk. But then on your point where, it's been kind of lagging. I guess today it's not making new highs. It's up 21% as we speak on the day. But it's different than a lot of other stuff today because it's already up 115, 114% from its lows, from its consolidation. So Virtuals Protocol ran when, Fetch AI is up like 70% today, but Virtuals Protocol was up, 70%, 2 weeks ago. It was up 100% 2 weeks ago. And then it's consolidated. So you're in a situation where, Fetch AI next week, after this 100% pump that it's had off the lows, it might be in a situation where it's volatile and consolidating. This consolidation is pretty brutal if you're on leverage. This was like 33% pullback. That's not easy to sit through, especially if you didn't catch it from the bottom. But it's already pumped 114%. Now it's consolidating. Now it's trying, in my opinion, to break out from this consolidation and make another run. So I think this is leading, or has a very good chance to be the leader, and one of the altcoins that kind of runs first. And then maybe while it's consolidating, you want to be looking at entries for other stuff.
Yeah, man, it's I don't know. I'm gonna keep a close eye on it. I think once it gets that like 30% rally, that's when I'm going to enter in. We just haven't seen.
I'm so bullish on virtuals.
I just haven't seen the big pop yet, but I have a feeling once it gets it, it's off to the races. And maybe maybe my entry point is $1.75 if it does that in like 24 hours or something. I think that'll just kind of signal that hey, this thing's about to take off. It's just. There's so many projects going down the list that are just performing well. I mean, Filecoin is just killing it. Near Protocol is up 40% today. It's good, man. What a good day to wake up in crypto. It's definitely take advantage of these moments. If you have some capital sitting on the side, I think I don't by any stretch of the imagination think it's too early. Now, this could all be invalidated with a downturn on Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a big move today. Bitcoin moved from, just this morning from 99,000, came down, filled in some long positions, and then it's off to the races, right? We saw, me and David were talking about it. We saw a $1,500 move in an hour on Bitcoin right before the show. And so obviously the rally we're seeing is fueled off of the back of Bitcoin. I'm extremely excited about this situation with the markets right now. I think it's a great time to enter, but just keep a close eye on Bitcoin. I think if we go back under 100K, all of this goes back to where we were last week. So,
yeah. All right. That'll do it for the show today. Forrest, thank you very much for joining us. I will be rolling right into the trading stream right after this one. So make sure you come join. And we'll break down some trades, make some money. And yeah, Gina, roll the outro. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Stay tuned. Come back in 5 minutes. We'll see you next.
Crypto. Cash is Cuvée. Yeah. Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the whale members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon, then to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.